Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Fultz. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away go for the first time. Nicholas Porcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Doms, possibly a little bit of contact.
Now, as we've got three wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let it go very far.
Go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
Just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham is the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Oklahoma International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the League Zero Racing Series, the premier Formula 3 iRacing League. We're at Silverstone Circuit, getting ready to start things off for the 8th round of the season, the British Grand Prix. Last week we saw current defending champion Finley Fitzsimmons bring home a win at the Red Bull Ring, the GP event we had, the Austrian Grand Prix, but he will not be making it onto the circuit here tonight. As always, I'm your host, James E. Spring, the action 1080p, 60 frames a second, as we're waiting for qualifying to come to a close here. And drivers are getting the last few laps in. Now, coming into tonight, Finley is your points leader with 9 points advantage over Ray Aguilar. But again, I think things are going to get shaken up here a little bit, as Finley has opted not to race this event. So this could be a big points night for Ray Aguilar, runner-up in the championship, currently that number 72 machine. Felipe Sarkis currently sitting in third. Jaden Calloway fourth in points, with Antonio Bianchi rounding out the top 5. Looks like drivers starting to make their way out onto the grid. And let's go ahead and give you your starting order for today. Starting on pole, Russell Soto, the number 51 machine. Ray Aguilar starting second. Nick Peterson starting third. Jaden Calloway starting fourth. Felipe Sarkis starts fifth. Antonio Bianchi starting 6th. Gareth McAllister, the world-famous Australian, starting 7th. Michael Fairchild starting 8th. Christian Gritzko starting 9th. John Kasai, the propane man, starting 10th. Felipe Ramos starting 11th. Devin Hughes starting 12th. Cycling it on back, we've got Peter Rettinger, the number 44. He's starting 13th. Jacob Bramley starting 14th. Ricardo Espino starts 15th. Xavier Zanave, the flying Frenchman, starting 16th. Evan Alexander starting 17th. Chris Schuessler starts 18th. And then we have Fitzsimmons showing in 19th. But again, he did not put down a qualifying. Will not make it out onto the grid here today. Go ahead, let us know in the spectator area where you're from, who you're cheering on. We've already seen Shaji join us on the YouTube side of the broadcast, letting us know not able to get home in time due to work. So unfortunately, we will not see him on the circuit here tonight. Waiting for a few more drivers to make their way out onto the grid. Waiting on Aguilar, Fairchild, Gritzko, Kasai, Ramos. A large portion of the field has not yet made it onto the circuit. Hopefully they can get there in time. Looks like the grid is going to be set here. Jaji's saying he's thinking Zanabe, the flying Frenchman, is going to bring home a win. We get ready for the lights to come off. All eyes on Russell Soto and Ray Aguilar, that front row, the 51 versus the 72. The lights are off and we are underway for the feature event. We've got 20 laps or 45 minutes, whatever's going to come first. Soto's going to hold on to the race lead, but we've got problems towards the back. That's going to be Evan Alexander, the 77. And it looks like Chris Schuessler also may have been involved in some sort of problems there. Oh, and even more problems. There's Peter Rettinger. There's Ricardo Espino. Zanabe was able to skate through, as well as Schuessler, the newcomer in the 61 machine. That's going to be his third spot gained. Let's get a quick replay queued up on that one, see what just happened to the three drivers here. Oh, hinting at 4 wide, and just not enough real estate for these drivers. Maybe a little bit of net coat there. Unfortunately, Rettinger may be putting it back in the hauler earlier. As we go back up front, Soto and Aguilar have a very comfortable lead, but Jaden Calloway, sitting in third, is being chased by Felipe Sarkis as well as Nick Peterson. And then right behind them, look at this heated battle. Oh, who is that off track? That looks like McAllister. Surely going to get a slowdown there, the number 25, as there goes John Kasai, the number 3. Oh, a big blink from McAllister. Has to be careful, as there goes Devin Hughes in the number 60 machine. Oh, McAllister's got compounding issues. Gets into, I think that was Zanabe. Zanabe just had nowhere to go and gets absolutely cleaned out by the Australian. I'm wondering if McAllister, he had some sort of issue. You see him push very wide out there. Hooks back out on track, catches Zanabe, and they both go for a very wild ride. Up front, Aguilar's closing the gap to Soto. We've got a little over 1/10 of a second between these two drivers. And we get a report that it looks like Ricardo Espino has taken a tow back to pit road. He is done and out of this main event. Evan Alexander as well as Xavier Zanabe have limped it onto pit road under their own accord. McAllister also down pit road. A couple of distinct battles out on track. You've got Soto and Aguilar battling for first, Callaway Sarkis battling for third, and it looks like Peterson and Bianchi going to have a battle for fifth here at a very busy pit road. Zanabe, McAllister, Alexander, Schuessler, and Espino all having to come down pit road. Now we know Espino for certain will not be rejoining the circuit. Here at League Zero, if you take a tow back to pit road, you are done, you are out, and you will not be allowed to rejoin the track. Looks like Bianchi trying to get something formed up here against Peterson as they go side by side. Peterson will hold on to that fifth place spot, fending off Bianchi's number 17. When Peterson having to work for it here. Peterson's teammate John Kasai running the number 3. He's back in 9th, about 3 seconds behind, so he will not have any support as Bianchi takes another shot up and alongside that number 24 of Peterson. Peterson tries to carry a little bit more momentum, guard the left side, and it looks like for the time being, Bianchi will be stuck second fiddle here in the battle for fifth. Now Peterson's down 2 spots from where he qualified. So we know he has the pace, but man, oh man, is Bianchi keeping the pressure up. You can see Michael Fairchild in the 88 watching this battle from about 3 car lengths back. Oh, and much closer here as here comes Fairchild joining the fray. Oh, does Bianchi get it? Peterson fires back up the inside line as we're on board with Fairchild in the 88. Yes, Bianchi will make the pass and do so. Now the big question is Bianchi gonna have pressure again from Nick Peterson? Oh, Peterson, a big send up the inside line. I was wondering, is Bianchi gonna be able to break away here? Bianchi pushes a little bit wide, gets out of sort, makes contact as Peterson gets into the back left wheel, that number 17. Things are about to get heated as here comes Christian Gritzko, the newcomer in the 91. With all the battling Peterson and Bianchi have had, as not to mention the wheel-to-wheel contact, that has allowed Fairchild and Gritzko to rapidly close the distance. Bianchi putting the hammer down now up into the top 5. He wants to get away from this fray behind him, as that is Fairchild and Peterson side by side. Looks like Gritzko also might be able to squeeze home a position as he pulls up alongside Peterson. No, Peterson's going to defend for a little while longer here. So now we are watching the battle for 7th. Oh, as something has happened to Peterson. He comes down pit road only 4 laps into this main event. I wonder if he got a little bit of damage there in that fray. Jacob Bramley, another newcomer, battling against Felipe Ramos' 73 machine. Ramos taking over the 8th place spot. That's going to be his 3rd position gained. Bramley up 5 spots so far, having a great race as well. We check back in on race leader Russell Soto as the fastest lap of the race, clean lap of the race, a 151.8. Aguilar shows a 151.79, but I'm not sure if that maybe includes an off track. And it seems like Aguilar are happy to pace the 51 and just see what line Soto is taking. Looks like Bramley and Hughes gonna have a battle for 9th. Also looks like John Kasai, that number 3 machine, starting to catch back up as well, trying to work himself back into the top 10. Now it's important for the fans to remember we have an inverted grid for the sprint race to follow, where our top 12 drivers, finishing drivers in this feature event, will be a reversed grid for the sprint race, which will be a 10-lap sprint here at the British Grand Prix. Looks like Kasai falling back ever so slightly to Hughes as we go on board the Propane Man's number 3 machine. Hovering right around 9/10 back from that 10th place position. And unfortunately for Kasai, I think the drivers in front of him able to work that draft together. Looks like Christian Gritzko starting to very slightly close the gap up to Fairchild. But let's go back up front real quickly. Russell Soto had Aguilar within 2/10 of the back of the leading number 51 machine. As somebody just pulled over, I think that was Chris Schuessler. He's got some sort of issues here in that 61. Not sure if he's waiting for the field to get around, but normally I would say needs to get up on pace to avoid being a hazard, but if he maybe has some sort of mechanical issue or damage that makes the machine very unstable at high speed, maybe that is the safe call, calling it out over the radio. There goes Gareth McAllister, the number 25, one of many drivers who had to come in on the first lap. McAllister spent 3 minutes in his pit stall. Gritzko had a big off-track moment as we see him trying to get back up on the pace. Let's see what happened to that number 91 Canadian driver. Oh, a little bit of grass. What a save by Gritzko, able to hold on to it. These open wheel Formula 3 machines, very easy to find yourself on the outside looking in if you find yourself dipping a couple of tires off the tarmac. Here's Felipe Sarkis. He's starting to close the gap to Jaden Calloway. This could very well be the battle for third. Of the 18 drivers that entered this feature event, we still have 17 out on track circulating. Last time by, Soto once again had the fastest lap of the race, this time on 151.71. Aguilar staying within about 3/4 of a second to about 8/10. Very consistent. Now, we've talked about Jaden Calloway multiple times throughout the season. One of those drivers we think has the pace, just hasn't quite had the luck yet. But when things go well, I mean, Callaway's still 4th in points, gained a position last week at the Red Bull Ring. Racing with Squid Gang Racing, this team. As it looked like Sarkis was starting to close the gap there. Now Callaway and Sarkis are teammates, so maybe not expecting too fierce of battling here. I think they're going to give each other plenty of room. So I would imagine if Sarkis suddenly catches up to the back of Callaway, you'll see Callaway yield the position, focusing on maximizing the points for that team. And it looks like the field's starting to get a little bit stretched out here. If we pan back to Russell Soto, the race leader, he's built up a 1.2 second gap over Aguilar. Gonna be curious to see if Aguilar has anything for Soto. Now the fuel window will open up when we throw out the cross, the green and white flag signifying the halfway mark here at Silverstone. But unless Aguilar may be trying to go for some fuel mileage game, gonna need to wick up the pace here if he wants any shot of catching up to Soto. Now Soto has been a part-time entry this season. He is 17th in points with only 5 race starts, not including tonight, to his name. And after tonight, we will have 3 more rounds. And I think the championship's going to be close, especially with Aguilar, who's running second, not having any competition from Fitzsimmons. It's too early to call, but I mean, Aguilar is in a great spot to try and take over the points lead here tonight. Kasai is going to come down pit road, one of the first drivers for what I would imagine is a scheduled fuel stop. And we also saw Devin Hughes was closing the gap to Bramley in the battle for 9th. That's going to put Hughes up inside the top 10. Looks like Bramley pulled a 1.2 second margin, so the closest drivers we have out on track are going to be the 2 teammates running 3rd and 4th, Callaway and Sarkis. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to quite use that draft against each other to maybe leapfrog themselves up towards Aguilar. Aguilar only 2 seconds ahead of Callaway sitting in 3rd. Last time by, looks like Callaway was 3/10 slower than number 72 machine sitting in 2nd. Looking at the track map on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, your monitor, your big screen, hey, even maybe your home movie theater, it looks like race leader Russell Soto has clean track well ahead of him. You can see the number 17th driver, the 17th place driver, Chris Schuessler, looks to be about 3 or 4 corners ahead, so a fair amount of margin before Soto's going to run into any traffic here. Now it's going to be interesting to see what the fuel mileage game is going to be for these drivers. Who's going to be the first down pit road? Now I would imagine Soto's going to try and run that gas tank as empty as he can in the 51. Soto's built up a 2.2 second margin. Looks like Aguilar building up a further gap over Sarkis. Now about 3 seconds separating the second and third place driver. Sarkis having a great run here in that number 4 as well. I'm going to look up the results. I can't recall the last time we saw the Brazilian driver up inside the top 3. And we get confirmation so far this season. Sarkis has yet to put it in podium contention. Looked like Schuessler pulling over off the racetrack. I'd imagine he's going to get a talking to from race control. On one hand, yes, I understand to yield to the faster drivers and not want to interrupt somebody else's race, but at that pace, it gets very, very dangerous with the closing speeds. We're watching Sarkis rocking and rolling here in third. Callaway, his teammate behind, he's gotten about 3 different podiums so far this season. 2 seconds and a third to his name. So I wonder if maybe that's part of the team orders. We get a crash report. Christian Gritzko, a big moment, falling back to 9th, may lose 10th here to Devin Hughes, who's closing the gap rather quickly. You can see Jacob Bramley just ahead, who's been very consistent. Let's see if Hughes is going to be able to catch him. Looks like Gritzko is going to hold on to a half-second margin. Let's see what happened to that number 91. Looks like it's going to be a solo incident. Maybe dipped a tire on the right side, just loops it out there. Quickly pulls off track to avoid collecting anybody else in his misfortune, so well done there. We're watching Jacob Bramley, who has Christian Gritzko and Devin Hughes very close behind. You can see that pack separated by about 7 to 8 tenths between each of the drivers. Oh, and another incident with Chris Schuessler. Schuessler definitely having some growing pains. And look at that car navigate. Definitely looks like he's fighting some sort of suspension issue. He came down pit road. I think he's just really struggling with car control. I think that is what we are seeing with him pulling out of the way, is he's just fighting tooth and nail to hold on to that thing. Here we go, the battle for 8th. Christian Gritzko trying to get his spot back from Bramley. Side by side we go, the battle for 8th. Gritzko takes it back over. Bramley still up 5 spots. He is our hard charger so far this evening. But here we go, look at Bramley setting up the draft, pushes way wide there. And now Devin Hughes may be able to get back in the fight in that number 60 machine. Devin Hughes trying everything he has to close that gap back up to Bramley and Gritzko. Now the 8th and 9th place drivers separated by far enough here, right around a second. Neither one able to really utilize the draft, so this is going to be a game of consistency as Bramley very quickly gained about a 10th on Gritzko, and then immediately it accordions back the other direction. We've got Jay Burt join us on the YouTube side of the broadcast. Great to see him here enjoying the British Grand Prix. Looks like the two teammates, 3rd and 4th, getting a little bit closer. Callaway had that gap within 2/10 of Sarkis, who's looking for his very first podium. Now everybody inside the top 11 has yet to box for this race. Keep an eye out though on John Kasai sitting 13th in that number 3. He went for the undercut on lap 7, so may be able to work his way a little bit higher in the standings once this pit cycle finally shakes itself out. There's Schussler pulling over once more in the 61. I think, unfortunately, if this keeps up, we may see the newcomer parked for his debut. And the two teammates are going to come down pit road in tandem, 12 laps in. Let's make it 13 as Soto and Aguilar cross the line. It's about to be a battle on pit road. For the two teammates, we got the Brazilian Sarkis, Callaway the American. Looks like Felipe Ramos, Jacob Bramley also going to take this opportunity to come down pit road. Soto's going to stay out a little while longer, as well as Aguilar, Bianchi, Fairchild, who make up the top 4. Looks like Christian Gritzko going to stay out as well in that 91 machine. 7 laps left to go in this feature event. Then we'll have the brief intermission and podium ceremony before we send them back out for the sprint race. Looks like Callaway has taken over the spot from his teammate Sarkis. With a Devin Hughes squeezed in the middle. Hughes has yet to box here. Now, historically, as Hughes, a big moment, stepping the back end out, almost getting into Callaway. Historically, we have not seen many, if any, drivers take tires in the feature event. But every round, it seems like we've been getting closer and closer to that as the tire degradation really becoming a factor. Callaway takes the spot back from Hughes. There is Sarkis in tow, that number 4. Your race leader, Russell Soto, dives down pit road for his one scheduled stop of the night. Looks like Aguilar might be staying out for another lap here. Antonio Bianchi also down pit road. Fairchild's also going to stay on the 88, going much longer than anybody else. Hughes comes down pit road. Callaway is going to have to fend off Sarkis. This could very well be the battle for third. Only 3 drivers yet to box. That's race leader Ray Aguilar, Michael Fairchild in second, and Christian Gritzko, who sits in fourth in the 91. Callaway starting to catch up to Bianchi's number 17 machine. Bianchi took his pit stop a little bit later than these 2 drivers on lap 13. Still waiting to see where Aguilar is going to be when the pit cycle is done. Soto sitting in third after his box in his pit stall for 6.43 seconds, almost a couple seconds longer than a majority of the drivers who came down and took fuel. Aguilar is down pit road for his one and only time of this feature event. Fairchild also down pit road. This should put Soto back in the race lead as the top 2 drivers completing their pit stop. Fairchild out of pit road. Aguilar with a good stop, but is going to lose this spot here to Aguilar. Much closer than I thought he would be, though. And yes, Aguilar was a full 2 seconds faster in his pit stall than Soto. Suddenly finds himself back within about a half second of Soto, who's led just about every lap here. Bianchi is going to hold on to third, about a half second ahead of Callaway. Bianchi is looking for his second podium of the season. It's been way back May 18th at Imola that we saw the number 17 machine join us in a podium celebration. The 2 battles out on track. Soto and Aguilar separated by 3/10. Bianchi, Callaway also separated by about 3/10. Bianchi is up 3 positions from where he qualified. Callaway qualified 4th, currently sitting in 4th. And has been able to shake his teammate Sarkis, who has fallen back to 5th, 1.2 seconds behind Callaway's 37 machine. 5 laps left to go here at the British Grand Prix. Yeah, Shaji making a good point. That very fast pit stop from Aguilar all of a sudden has put him back in race contention, as it looked like Callaway was starting to size up Bianchi there. A little bit of a lockup from one of the drivers. Couldn't quite tell who it was, but Callaway squarely in the draft of Bianchi and very quickly takes over the spot. Bianchi must have had a bobble there. Let's get that replay queued up to see what happened to Bianchi. I mean, it looked like Callaway was able to get through almost uncontested. A big move up the inside. Yeah, and I think Bianchi just yielded the position. Checking back in up front, 2 old friends and longtime rivals, Russell Soto, Aguilar, separated by less than 1/10 of a second. You can see the dirt being kicked up as Aguilar tries the outside line for the race lead. Soto immediately fires back. Aguilar up the inside, pressures Soto. Soto's going to fall back to 2nd. Oh, what a race we have here, ladies and gentlemen. Soto fires back the inside line against Aguilar. So incredibly close here. While this is going on, Callaway and Bianchi having their own heated fray for third. Bianchi wants that second podium of the season, but he's got to be careful as here comes Felipe Sarkis. Teammates with Callaway. Sarkis is looking for his very first podium. Aguilar holds on to the race lead, 2/10 up over Soto. Did Aguilar show his hand too early? As now Soto is going to fire back up the inside against Aguilar. Aguilar trying to carry as much corner speed as possible in the 72. But here comes Soto side by side for the race lead. We are wing to wing here. Aguilar fends him off for a little while longer. Aguilar will get credit for another lap led here in the 72. Soto staying right there in the draft though. Callaway holding on to third. Looks like he's built up about 6 tenths over Bianchi. Bianchi has about a half second over Sarkis. As look at this, Soto will just not yield as I think there's contact between the two. Soto spins. Around goes Soto. Oh, and things get dicey as Callaway has to hold onto the binders to avoid getting in the back of the 51. Callaway suddenly finds himself in contention for second. Here comes Bianchi, making a quick move as well. Bianchi quickly takes over second as we're 3 wide here at Silverstone. Soto back up the inside line. Callaway, Sarkis suddenly find themselves in a better podium contention as Ray Aguilar has checked out. Bianchi up into third. No, it's going to be Callaway's. They're side by side. It's anybody's guess. 4 drivers battling for second. Bianchi way off the track limits, chops the nose off of Callaway, trying to fend off the 2 teammates right behind. Let's get a quick replay queued up of Russell Soto and Ray Aguilar's incident. Let's see what happened here. Looked like they locked wheels, maybe a bit of net code. Try and grab a nice wide angle here for the fans at home. So there's Aguilar shoot up to, oh, I think it was net code, and then 2 drivers get glued together. Now this is going to be very interesting. The stewards could very well decide this race. If Aguilar gets what would be the standard 5-second penalty, he does not have a big enough gap to hold on to the race lead. If this goes to the steward's office, he is only 3 seconds up over Soto. And I do have to wonder, is there any damage on those top 2 drivers, Aguilar and Soto? iRacing can do pretty odd things. Sarkis trying everything he can to catch up to Bianchi. He's got about a half second to gain in about a lap and a half if he wants a chance at his first time podium this season. Gotta be mindful as Callaway trying to close the gap right behind as well to his teammate. Your current running order, Aguilar, Soto, Bianchi, your top 3. Sarkis and Callaway, the teammates, rounding out the top 5. And it's important noting as well, Aguilar in first, Bianchi in third, also teammates this season. So could be massive points for the 2. Aguilar needs everything while Fitzsimmons is off tonight to try and work his way back into a championship winning spot. I think Bianchi only has his eyes forward, though. He's trying to close that 7/10 deficit that Soto has, trying not to drive too much in his rearview mirror, as the white flag will be out next time by. You can see Bianchi trying to shake the draft, but Sarkis and Callaway might be working together here to catch to the gearbox of that number 17. Hard Charger out on track still. Jacob Bramley, that number 6. He is up 6 positions so far. Here we go, the battle for third. Felipe Sarkis is going to try and make a move against Bianchi. Sarkis looking for that first podium. Bianchi looking for his second of the season. Looks like Sarkis has about a half car length, but no, Bianchi immediately fires back up along the inside line. It's going to be a side-by-side drag race. We've got a half lap left to go before Aguilar takes the white flag. And then Bianchi and Sarkis both have the elbows out. Jaden Calloway trying to get in the mix as well in that 37. He wants to get that thing up on the podium, but has to be mindful. Having two cars on the team finishing 4th and 5th, much more important than just one of those drivers bringing home a top 3. Bianchi gains about 4/10 back to his advantage, while Sarkis has Calloway glued to that rear wing. White flag is out for Aguilar. He's got a 2-second gap over Soto. Michael Fairchild, the 88, comes down pit road for the second time this evening. Bianchi finding more time, makes it 3/4 of a second advantage over Sarkis. Sarkis finds a couple of tenths there. Unfortunately for Fairchild, he's going to fall way down the standings, 11th after that second pit stop. And Bianchi doing a great job keeping Soto within distance as well. A half lap left to go at this feature event, the British Grand Prix. As a reminder to the fan, we'll have a very brief intermission before we send the drivers back out for the final sprint race of the evening. And it looks like unless Bianchi has a big bobble here, may be able to hold on to the 3rd place spot. There's Russell Soto with a 2-second gap. Excuse me, Ray Aguilar with a 2-second gap over Russell Soto. Checkered flag is out. And Aguilar will pick up the win here at the British Grand Prix. Russell Soto finishes 2nd, and Antonio Bianchi will have his 2nd podium of the season. We're going to get these drivers up here into the waiting room. We wait for a few more drivers to cross the finish line and make the results official for this feature event. Looks like we've got Bianchi and Soto, so we can get things started here as soon as the results are considered semi-official, I would say, until the stewards have their say in today's on-race activities. We will get things started with the Italian Stallion, Antonio Bianchi, 2nd podium of the season. It's been a bit of a dry spell, but man, what an action-packed feature event here at the British Grand Prix.
Yeah, man, that was a lot of fun racing there with Felipe, Jaden, and a little bit with Russell there. That was cool.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like it was still anybody's guess who was going to hold on to that final podium spot. Now, were you a little bit worried seeing the two teammates behind you, maybe thinking, hey, these guys aren't going to battle as fiercely as they try and catch up to me?
I'll be honest with you. I did take into consideration that they were teammates. They were racing each other a lot harder than I thought they would have. Like to the point where I jumped them in the pit stop. So I was amazed.
Well, hey, it seems like it's going well for you all the way through. Currently running very well in the points as well, and I know this is going to be a bit of a shakeup, but you're fifth in points coming to tonight, so what's the plan for the rest of the season? How are you feeling, and do you think maybe a top 3 in the championship is possible?
I mean, there's always possibilities for top threes. It all depends on what happens. It's more just me trying to finish and get that team championship secured down with Ray. Me and him, I think, we were 1 point out of the lead coming into this race. So the goal is really to get that locked down. Anything from there is a benefit on my end for sure.
Well, awesome. Antonio, always great to have you up here in the booth, my friend. Before I let you sign off and get ready for the sprint race, who do you want to give a shout out to that helps make it happen for you?
Definitely shout out to Russell, Jaden, and Felipe there. That was some awesome racing. We were racing each other super clean, especially Jaden there. That was lots of fun. And then obviously shout out to my teammate Ray, won the race. We're doing pretty good this season, and he's been helping me out a little bit here and there. Other than that, shout out to Levi for making me the paint, and shout out to James East as always for being here. Hopefully I get to see you again sometime.
Thank you, buddy. I hope so as well, and best of luck in the sprint race.
Thanks, man.
That was Antonio Bianchi bringing it home in third. Up next, we have Mr. Russell Soto bringing it home in second after a little bit exciting last couple of laps. Can you walk me through what happened there with the contact between you and Aguilar?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the entire race, I feel like it was a case of just, we had the quickest pace, I feel, throughout the entire grid and leading the race. Unfortunately, a bad pit stop is what closed the gap there. And coming into that last couple of laps, unfortunately we tangled, it seems. I haven't really seen the replay too much yet, but it seems like Ray had a little bit of a washout on track exit there, kind of turning us sideways. But it happens, and that's racing, I guess.
Now, I know you're running a part-time schedule, starting to be back more and more, but do you have a plan or a strategy going to this sprint race since you'll be starting 11th right in the middle of the meat grinder for this one?
Well, we'll just do what we always do, James. Keep the strategy to just be consistent. Let the pace do its thing, and try to avoid harm's way. I mean, the last 2 races, the sprints haven't really worked out for me, but I'll be patient this time and try to time things a little bit better.
Well, hey, looking forward to seeing how things go for the sprint race. Always a pleasure seeing you on track, virtual or real-life shenanigans. And Russell, before I let you sign off and get ready for this sprint, who do you want to give a shout out to that helps make it happen for you?
I'd love to give a shout out to all my friends watching. I shared the link to a lot of people for this race in particular, so I hope it was a good watch. A little boring, I guess, for most of the race, but those last laps, man. I'd love to shout out my family as well. And yeah, League Zero, and of course, Team Goon Squad and you, James.
Hey, always a pleasure, man. Couldn't put on a show without you guys, and best of luck in the sprint, Russ.
Thanks, James.
That was Russell Soto bringing it home in second. But up next, the man, the myth, the legend, Ray Aguilar, the top spot. Man, it looked like it was going to be a bit of a freight train race with drivers spread out, but those last 3-4 laps, things got mighty exciting really quick after a great pit stop from you in that machine.
Yeah, I had to really push hard to get the extra lap, and I just thought, let's try it. We know the undercut doesn't work. Let's try going one more lap. I came out and I was right behind him. In fact, if I would have had, I made a mistake. I actually shifted in neutral going down the pits. I think I would have probably come out next to him if that wasn't the case. But yeah, managing the tires and watching that the whole time, trying to catch up towards the end, it was a great race, and it was super fun battling Russell. He's so fast out here. He's way faster than me.
Now, that it worked out well for you with a great pit strategy, a little bit of contact there that kind of upset the running order, but how do you think the sprint race is going to play into that, where you guys are similar on pace, maybe a bit behind Soto, but having to work through so much traffic, and you've had a little bit more experience this season at least running the sprint races?
Yeah, so, nothing wrong with trading a little paint for a brother, but at the end of the day, I apologize too if I actually took anybody out or spun Russell there towards the end. We came together in the 4th turn there. And as far as the sprint race goes, I think ultimately what we got to do is just get through the first. I don't know if you could see in the beginning of this race, but everybody's spinning in the first few laps. So if you can just stay on the track, you've got a shot at the top 5.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I know the sprint races always lend themselves to all sorts of excitement, and definitely known for your aggressiveness getting through the field. And we saw some fans putting up some thumbs up for you here in the spectator area, so got to be happy all the way around the performance. And Ray, before we let you go, you've got the final send-offs of the feature event. Who do you want to give a shout out to that helps bring home the win for you?
I want to thank my mom. I want to say happy birthday to America. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Hope everybody was fun and safe. My mechanic, Tom. And let's give a shout out to my teammate, Antonio. He actually put in the work this week. And look, it got him a 3rd place and a podium and brought home points for the team. And appreciate you and everybody up in the booth and race control, too. These League Zero events are awesome.
All right, always good to have you, Ray. Best of luck in the sprint, and hope to have you back up here.
Love you, James.
Love you too, buddy. That was Ray Aguilar bringing home the feature win, interrupting the winning streak of Finley Fitzsimmons, and that should put Aguilar back in the points contention. Don't go anywhere. We've got a brief 4-minute intermission, and we will be back with the final sprint race of the evening. Half the laps and twice the action. Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Folks. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away we go for the first time. Nicholas Morcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Now, as we've got 3 wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
See just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone, and he's over.
Smooth stuff. Cody Graham is the one-on-one. Up into second place. Alex Johnson, 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
Welcome back, race fans. Looks like the warm-up session is about to close out, and then we will put our drivers back on the grid, an inverted top 12. And it is going to be exciting to see how this one shapes out. It's going to be Michael Fairchild starting in the very top spot. Nick Peterson will be starting second. John Kasai starts third. Looks like we've got Christian Gritzko will be starting fourth. Devin Hughes starting fifth. Jacob Bramley will be starting sixth. Felipe Ramos starting seventh. Jaden Calloway starting eighth. Felipe Sarkis starting ninth. Antonio Bianchi starting 10th. Russell Soto starting 11th, and Ray Aguilar going to be way at the back, that inverted top 12, as he starts 12th after bringing home the win at this feature event. Here we go, the grid is set as we get ready for the lights to come on. 18 drivers will be making their way out, 10 laps. And it is going to be exciting as we already see. I think that was Christian Gritzko launching off to the inside there. Christian Gritzko takes a tow back to pit road. I wonder if he maybe jumped the start as we watch Fairchild and Peterson side by side. Peterson has his teammate John Kasai not too far behind. Looks like that was Gareth McAllister way off track. Yes, it was. Peterson Fairchild continue putting on a show for the race lead. Now we've only got 10 laps in this sprint race. Ray Aguilar has already moved up 5 positions up into 7th. Peterson, Fairchild, Kasai, your top 3 a little bit further back. Looks like Jaden Calloway is going to get sent off track. Let's see what happened to Calloway here. Well, maybe gets a little bit of help. I think that may have been Bramley involved. And the number 6 machine, Bramley up 1 spot in 5th. No, excuse me, it was Devin Hughes, the number 60, who's sitting in 4th, involved in that incident with Calloway. Peterson holding on to the race lead, but all the action is 4th place back as there goes Bramley, Aguilar. Working their way up towards the front, muscling through the field here. Aguilar's worked his way up into 5th. Looks like Kasai made his way around his teammate Peterson to work that number 3 up into 2nd place. And I'm sure I'm about to hit it with the commentator's curse, but very impressed with how clean things have been so far. As I say that, looked like Bramley had a massive moment locking up the number 6. Still up 3 positions in the 3rd, but keep an eye out. Ray Aguilar cutting through the field here. And there's some sort of issue for Nick Peterson. He drops down the standings back into, looks to be 10th he falls back to. Bramley has muscled his way up into 2nd. Kasai in hot pursuit. Aguilar looking for a way around. Kasai is looking for his 3rd podium of the season, but now he's dropped back to 4th. With no support from his teammate Peterson to be found, Peterson again fell way back into 10th. Now this is Bramley's second race weekend or race day with League Zero. His highest finish is a 16. So maybe finally having the opportunity to show what he has. As we watch Sarkis and Kasai side by side for fourth. Fairchild out front, clicking off laps, but look how busy the circuit here is with fourth place John Kasai trying to fend off Hughes, Bianchi, Russell Soto in the mix as Soto makes a move against Bianchi. Felipe Ramos, Nick Peterson, Zanave, Redinger, Espino. The top 12 very close together, all things considered. Here's Soto making a move against Devin Hughes in that number 60 machine. Looks like Bianchi heavy on the brakes there to avoid getting tangled up. You can also see Felipe Ramos, the number 73, trying to fight for a little bit higher position, but not many laps left to make it happen, or not really many laps in general to make it happen. Only a 10-lap sprint here at Silverstone. Bianchi looking for any opening he can against Hughes. Hughes tucked in right behind Soto, or about 4/10 off the back of Soto. Soto seems to be catching up to John Kasai, as it is still Fairchild, Aguilar, Sarkis, your top three. Kasai and Soto rounding out the top five here. Well, a big lunge there from Bianchi up the inside line right behind them. That's Peterson trying to make a move on Hughes. Bianchi gets the position, guards the inside line against Hughes. Hughes trying to muscle his way in there, but given a respectable amount of space there. So well done to those two battling for sixth. But they are losing time to Soto. As Sarkis just sets the fastest lap of the race as he sits in third on 152.17. Kasai currently fourth at number 3, has pressure from Soto's 51. Historically, Soto has always been a little bit more cautious in the sprint race compared to competitors such as Aguilar, who is definitely not afraid to lick the stamp and send it, but Aguilar 1.5 seconds back from Fairchild. Fairchild 11th in points. Fairchild's highest finish of the season was a 6th. Unfortunately for that 88, he's very frequently tied up in some sort of incidents, averaging about 5 incidents per race at the minimum. We go back to 9th, where it's a very busy circuit. We're focusing on Felipe Ramos in the 73. He's 4/10 back from Peterson, who we're watching Peterson and Hughes battle for 7th. Ramos, that 73 machine, a very sporty livery he's running this season. And there's the flying Frenchman, Xavier Zanave, sitting 10th, up 4 spots in the number 12. Oh no, there's contact there between Ramos and Hughes. Hughes, a massive, I believe I saw the wing come off that machine. Yes, losing the rear wing. He's gonna have to come down pit road. And then Xavier Zanave has an incident. Another incident. So let's see what happens here. Focusing in on Zanave, who's tied up in that incident. Something happened to Felipe Ramos. Oh, that's what it was. It was Ramos hits too much curbing, gets into Hughes. And then I believe the Frenchman Zanave comes barreling in, losing a bit of bodywork is there as well. Almost seemed like it took a minute for the damage to fully register on Zanave's machine. Oh, what just happened there? Did Ramos take him out, I wonder? Worthy of another look, so watch Ramos. Oh no, there's netcode between the two. Zanave and Ramos somehow collide on the straight, ending both of their nights. So Ramos and Zanave joining Christian Gritzko, who had to retire from this event. Michael Fairchild still your race leader. Aguilar in second, Sarkis in third. Now we talked about Sarkis, who desperately wants his first podium, was so extremely close in the feature event. Devin Hughes, another off-track excursion. Has to be a mighty handful to hold on to that with no arrow. And yeah, that machine's looking very, very worse for wear. Now there's Felipe Sarkis. We were just talking about him. He's got Russell Soto closing the gap 8/10 behind, but up front, looks like Aguilar very quickly closing the gap to race leader Fairchild. So things are definitely very much undecided in the top 5. This round 8 sprint race with 4 laps left to go. Hughes was able to get down pit road under his own power, but unfortunately I think he will be done and out of this one. Just too much damage to return back onto the circuit. Jacob Bramley with a huge moment for Bramley. Let's see what happened to the all yellow and black number 6. Pushes wide, grabs the grass, and then just gets absolutely launched to orbit there. We're gonna watch that one again out of morbid curiosity. Just says, sayonara, I've had enough. Fairchild holds on to the race lead, but Aguilar in very hot pursuit in the 72. Aguilar wants to make it back-to-back, squeezing every point he can out of the evening. Meanwhile, right behind you can see Soto closing the gap to Sarkis, who sits in third. Fairchild's going to defend with everything he has here. That could very well allow Sarkis and Soto to close the gap as they run third and fourth. Just a few short laps left to go as Aguilar works the slipstream against Fairchild, dives up the inside line, takes over the race lead in commanding fashion. And now Fairchild is going to have company from both Sarkis and Soto, who are very heavy on the loud pedal. And you can see just how close Sarkis and Soto are to the wall to make this track as tight as possible. Schuessler once again pulling to the side of the track to allow the faster drivers through. But your top 4 drivers separated by about a second and a half here. You can see Aguilar, Fairchild, Sarkis, Soto trying to figure out who's going to be landing where. Now Devin Hughes is going to try and return to the circuit. But I can't imagine they got that machine too fixed with 2 minutes and 20 seconds in his pit stall. 2 laps left to go here at the British Grand Prix. There's Soto working his way up into third, edging out Sarkis. Sarkis really needs some of these top 3 drivers to maybe start throwing a little bit more jabs if he wants a chance at that first podium. A bit of a bobble there from Fairchild, allowing Soto to get right there with the second place driver. Aguilar has pulled about an 8/10 advantage up in front. He's got clean track, and this is where he's happiest. There is a little bit of traffic up ahead. That's going to be Devin Hughes, the number 60 machine. As here we go, the battle for second, Soto versus Fairchild. Soto, a big move up the inside. Has that number 51 machine pitched completely sideways. Is it going to be enough as it's a drag race here? Fairchild fires back. This could be massive for Sarkis. Has 2 drivers in front of him punching a mighty big hole in the air. Yeah, look how quickly Sarkis is able to close the gap. Sarkis has to be careful here not to get too lost in the moment if he wants that podium. Sarkis' fastest lap was almost a full half-second faster than Fairchild, so we believe the Brazilian driver, the number 4, has the pace, just has to pick those moments at the right time. Sarkis and Fairchild side by side. Fairchild holds on to it, pulls about a 1/10 of a second advantage over Sarkis, but Sarkis right back there in the hunt. Sarkis will have the inside line here, but Fairchild might carry a little bit more momentum. They're once again side by side. Sarkis behind by 0.02 of a second. Oh, Fairchild pushes a little bit wide there. Able to hold on to it. The next left-hander still side by side. A bit of a lockup there. Looked like that was from Soto. Fairchild defending with everything he's got here. White flag will be out next time by. We're watching an extremely heated battle for third between Fairchild and the 88, Sarkis the number 4, as they are once again side by side. Aguilar and Soto ahead. Very stretched out the gap. Sarkis looks like he might have the pass complete. And here comes Antonio Bianchi starting to close as well, as Sarkis and Fairchild have been making some massive moves against each other. Another draft battle between the two. The third and fourth place drivers so incredibly close on pace, makes it very difficult for either driver to break away. And I do want to give a quick update. Sarkis has never brought home a podium here at League Zero. He has 6 fourth place finishes to his name, but still chasing that elusive top 3. White flag is out for Aguilar. Soto runs in second. Sarkis that final podium spot. Fairchild and Bianchi round out the top 5. Sarkis started racing with League Zero way back September 22nd, 2022. His debut of the series, but don't count out Antonio Bianchi. Wanted to throw a mix into this as well. Fairchild hops out of line, so does Bianchi. They go 2 wide in the battle for 4th. Fairchild does not want to get tied up with Bianchi, wants to keep his eyes forward on Sarkis. If Sarkis drives defensive, it'll slow the pace down ever so slightly, and that could work well for him or maybe against him. If he slows the pace down too much, he's got more drivers to contend with. It could work to his advantage if Fairchild ends up battling with Bianchi. But oh, with the draft train we're about to have here, Sarkis is going to be in for the ride of his life. A quarter of a lap left to go for Aguilar before he can make it a back-to-back win. He's got a second advantage over Soto. Soto 4.7 seconds over this extremely heated battle for third. You can also see John Kasai sitting sixth, that number 3 machine, just tantalizingly out of the reach of this draft. Fairchild has his hands full with Antonio Bianchi, but Ray Aguilar will pick up back-to-back wins here. Russell Soto will bring home the second. And put your hands together. Felipe Sarkis will get his first career podium here at League Zero after a year of solid effort. Something happened to Michael Fairchild on that final lap. He's showing 7th. Oh, gets tagged by Bianchi, and look at that. John Kasai snakes on through and says, you know what? I'll take a 4th just fine. Ray Aguilar enjoying the cooldown lap, and Sarkis giving a quick burnout to the fans as well. So we're going to wait for these top 3 drivers to make their way up here to victory lane. Somebody better tell Sarkis he's never been here before. Jay Small joining us in the spectator area saying that Antonio Bianchi ran out of talent. We're going to get things started. Try that again. There we go. So up first, for the very first time, Felipe Sarkis, the number 4 machine, joining me in the podium celebrations. Felipe, it's been almost a year, but tell me how much you were losing. I know you're streaming on Twitch tonight, but tell me how much you were losing it after that race.
Man, I was so happy, you know. Many times I was like, man, P4, P5, P4, when it's gonna be. So today's the day.
Yeah, I believe we were looking at the stats. You've had 6 4th-place finishes, and who only knows how many top 5s, but as we said, it's been almost a year. You started back September 22nd, your first race with League Zero in 2022. Tell me about the process it's taken you to suddenly start finding yourself up here towards the front more consistently.
Jay, man, now that you mention, it's a long time ago. But the thing is, I was doing this, let's say, not that I was not taking it serious, but I was not like dedicating so much. And I saw the fast guy. I was like, I've never seen these guys on the officials. They really dedicated to this. And then I started practicing more. And I team up with Jaden. And we start to practice almost every day and taking really serious. I mean, like, tomorrow we are going to practice for the next race, you know? So that's the way, man. Only practice.
Well, Felipe, as somebody who's been watching you race for a long time and calling the action as a broadcaster, it is a huge moment for me to finally have you up here in the booth for the first time. I know you're pumped for a third, looking forward to more future success for you, and this is a new part for you, but before I let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to that helps make that first podium possible?
Oh, first to my wife and kids, and then to my teammate, Jaden, and the other one that's always here, engineering, Fabian. Thank you very much.
Good to have you back up here, Felipe. We'll hope to have you up here more in the future.
Yeah, I'll be here more.
That was Felipe Sarkis joining us for the first time with a 3rd-place finish. Up next, Russell Soto, the number 51. Russell, we talked about being a little bit more consistent and just getting there towards the end of the sprint race. That being said, it looked like the strategy worked flawlessly for you.
Yeah, definitely, James. I'm happy to be back on a sprint race podium. It's been a while. These last few races haven't really worked out on the sprints, but glad this one did. Could have gotten a better start. This wasn't really the result we were looking for. Although better, we were always aiming for P1. But yeah, I mean, in the beginning, just got caught up with some traffic, but luckily kept it clean, kept the nose clean, kept it consistent, set some fast laps, and here we are.
Now, yeah, we talked about that again. You're being consistent. Maybe waited too long to pull the hammer. It looked like you definitely had the pace. And now outsiders looking in, now this is all done. Do you wish you were more aggressive at the start to try and keep Aguilar within striking distance?
I do wish I was a bit more aggressive. I mean, me being a part-time driver, stepping into these sprint races, the starts especially are a bit challenging compared to what I'm used to. Just like a standard race start. Here we have some people who aren't really that fast off the line, especially on the start. And me with my dual clutch on my steering wheel, I had a great launch, but unfortunately there was someone like almost stopped ahead, so it's a bit challenging.
Well, hey, it's still a great race all the way for you. Double silvers. You got to be pleased all the way around. Finishing a sprint race with a clean car, which is no small feat itself. So, got to be happy for you and your friends. And, Russ, before I let you sign off, who do you want to give a shout out to that helps make the back-to-back seconds possible for you?
Yeah, back-to-backs. I have to give a shout out to, once again, all my friends and family who are watching. If you made it this far, thanks for supporting me. And I'm looking forward to continuing to do more races. I want to shout out League Zero. This is a great league. I can't, say that enough. And James as well. It's a great broadcast that you put on.
Oh, thank you, Russell. Hope to have you back up here next week and many more weeks to come. And always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you, James.
That was Russell Soto bringing it home in second. But up next for the second time tonight, Ray Aguilar, the top spot here at the British Grand Prix. I mean, couldn't have asked for a better race, slicing and dicing through the field in the sprint.
I'll tell you what, the person I need to thank the most during this one would be Felipe. I think Russell's clearly faster than me in this track. I just don't have the pace here. And Felipe held him up just long enough for me to squeak by another lap and he'd have been gone.
Yeah, I mean, seemed like things worked out well. Able to pull 11 positions. Now, we always talk about your aggressiveness, and you've got a lot of fans in the spectator area that were losing their minds here tonight. But I mean, how do you balance that between being too aggressive and being safe enough to bring it home at the end of a sprint race, especially a race where there's so many points on the table for you and the team?
That's exactly the play. You have to sort of balance how hard you're going to push. You have to really be assertive in the first few laps and just like cut positions off because, I mean, think if we'd have got to the end of lap 2 and I was 3 more positions down, there's no shot. There's no shot at a win. To go from 12th to 1st on here is like, you have to be aggressive as you can be.
Well, it seemed like things worked out very, very well for you in that number 72 machine. Back-to-back wins, huge points. Should be 100% walking out of this as the current points leader. So, can you ask for any more in a race night here at League Zero?
No, other than jumps. If they could add jumps to the track, the only other thing I can think of that would make it exciting, maybe some dirt.
I'm on board. I think the fans are as well. Ray, speaking of fans, you got a bunch of them tuned in here tonight, giving you all sorts of shout-out, all sorts of love from around the track here at Silverstone. And you've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout-out to?
I want to just say thanks for everybody for watching and showing up. Thanks to all of my support team and the people who make the whole machine work. It's not just getting to the track and driving. There's all the other stuff, food services and laundry, just all the people that contribute to me getting here. And I want to thank my teammate, and then I just want to remind people to help control the pet population. Have your pets spayed or neutered.
Agree. Words of wisdom.
Shout out
always.
to Team Waterboy Sam too. They helped me get there tonight.
Awesome, Ray. Always a pleasure, my friend. Congrats again on the back-to-back, and let's see if you can do it next week as well.
Yep. Love you, James. Happy birthday, Gareth.
Love you too. Happy birthday, Gareth and America.
Yep.
That was a very humble Ray Aguilar, a good friend and no stranger to the broadcast booth, making it back-to-back wins here at League Zero, picking up the win in the feature, and then doing it again in the sprint race in dominant style. He was accompanied by Russell Soto in second and Felipe Sarkis getting his first career podium in the sprint race. On behalf of LeagueZero.net, my name has been James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Thank you all so much to our fans, friends, and family tuned in, supporting the league, supporting the drivers, as well as supporting the broadcast. I look forward to having you all back, same time, same place, next week. Have a great night, everybody.